Chosen one. You did not press play by accident, and this moment did not find you randomly. Before time learned your name, heaven marked this second as an appointment written into your scroll. What you are feeling right now is not curiosity. It is recognition. Your spirit knows this hour. This is kairos, timing, the kind of moment Ecclesiastes says was set before birth, a time for every purpose under heaven. Chosen one. If you have been feeling tired in a way sleep cannot fix, heavy in a way rest cannot reach, it is not because something is wrong with you, it is because something is opening. A sealed place in your destiny is beginning to breathe. The scroll that was hidden is being unrolled, and your soul feels the pressure of alignment. Habakkuk Chapter 2 verse 3 reminds us that the vision waits for its appointed time, but when it speaks, it will not lie. That appointed time is pressing against you now. Anointed one, you are standing at the edge of a divine unlocking. This could unfold today, tonight, or in the coming days, but the signal has already been released. Isaiah chapter 60 verse 22 says that in the right time the Lord makes it happen swiftly. Heaven's clock has struck your hour. Let your heart open. Let your spirit listen. What begins here is not information. It is activation. Chosen one. The tiredness you have been carrying is not random, and it is not a sign that something is wrong with you. It is a signal. It is the echo of a hidden assignment stirring beneath the surface of your life. There are seasons when heaven leans closer, when what has been sealed begins to press outward, and the body feels the weight of what the soul is preparing to release. This is one of those moments. You are not exhausted because you lack strength. You are tired because something ancient inside you is waking up. Anointed one. I want to speak to you as someone who has walked through this kind of weariness. There were times in my own journey when sleep did nothing, when rest felt shallow, when I woke up already feeling like I had run a race in the unseen. I thought I needed better habits, more discipline, more effort. But what I needed was understanding. My spirit was carrying an instruction my mind had not yet accepted. That is where you are now. Your soul knows before your thoughts catch up. This fatigue is part of your calling. You were never designed to move at the same pace as the world around you. You were formed to carry awareness, to sense shifts, to feel undercurrents that others walk past without noticing. That sensitivity is not weakness, it is discernment. It allows you to read rooms, to feel when something is off, to know when heaven is speaking quietly instead of loudly. But that gift costs energy. Carrying light in a heavy atmosphere always does. Chosen one. There is a reason you have felt like you live between two worlds. One foot grounded in daily responsibilities, bills, conversations, routines, and the other anchored in something eternal that refuses to be ignored. You feel it when you slow down. You feel it when the noise fades. You feel it late at night when your thoughts drift toward meaning, purpose, and alignment instead of surface-level concerns. This dual awareness is not accidental. It is how your scroll was written. There is a moment described in Ecclesiastes chapter 3 verse 1 that says, "There is a time for every purpose under heaven." That time is not measured by clocks. It is measured by readiness. Your tiredness is not delay, it is transition. It is what happens when the old rhythm no longer fits and the new rhythm has not fully taken shape. That in-between space can feel uncomfortable, even draining, but it is sacred. Anointed one, heaven is intervening more than you realize. When you feel called to withdraw, to be quiet, to step back instead of pushing harder, that is not avoidance, that is instruction. Even Jesus stepped away from the crowds, not because he was weak, but because he understood that power flows from alignment, not constant output. If you ignore this call to recalibrate, your body will speak louder. That is what has been happening. I want you to hear this clearly. Your exhaustion does not mean you are failing. It means you are engaged. You are not under pressure because you are doing something wrong. You are under pressure because something is being formed. Just like Joseph carried a dream that shaped his entire future long before he understood it, you are carrying insight ahead of manifestation. That kind of destiny always comes with a refining season. Chosen. One part of your tiredness comes from trying to honor two voices at once. The world tells you to move faster, do more, prove yourself, stay visible. Your spirit tells you to slow down, listen, trust, and align. When those voices compete, the soul becomes weary. Your fatigue is your inner truth asking to be honored. It is calling you back to divine timing instead of forced momentum. I have learned in my own life that rest is not retreat. It is strategy. Silence is not absence. It is preparation. Some of the most important shifts I experienced came during seasons when nothing on the outside seemed to be happening. Looking back, I can see that heaven was reorganizing my inner world, teaching me when to release and when to wait. That same work is happening in you now. Chosen one. This is the beginning of activation, not the end of endurance. Your scroll is not closing, it is opening. What feels like heaviness is the pressure before alignment. What feels like exhaustion is the shedding of rhythms that no longer serve your calling. Stay present, stay honest, stay willing to listen. The next part of this message will help you understand what you have been absorbing, why it has drained you, and how heaven is calling you to steward your energy differently as this kairos moment continues. Chosen one, as this weariness settles in your body, it's revealing how much you have been carrying for others without realizing it. You walk into rooms and conversations already open, already sensing, already available, and people feel it immediately. They do not know why they feel safe with you, but they begin to release what they have been holding. You listen longer, you absorb deeper, you offer presence without trying. Over time, that unseen exchange accumulates, and the body begins to feel what the soul has been managing quietly for years. There were seasons in my own life when I thought I was simply being helpful, kind, or strong, but later I understood that I was doing spiritual labor without boundaries. I was taking home emotions that were not mine, replaying conversations in my head, carrying concern into my sleep. That kind of giving feels noble at first, until exhaustion exposes the cost. This is not a failure of compassion, it is a lesson in stewardship. Even light must be directed or it will scatter and fade. Chosen one. Your tiredness is also connected to awareness. You notice subtle shifts in people, in environments, even in yourself. You sense when something is misaligned long before words are spoken. That level of perception keeps your nervous system alert. While others move through life on the surface, you are constantly processing beneath it. That depth is a gift, but without rhythm, it becomes heavy. Heaven never intended you to be open all the time. There is a sacred pattern to your energy, and it requires seasons of withdrawal. When you ignore the invitation to be still, life will slow you down another way. That is not punishment. It is protection. I have learned that the moments I resisted rest were often the moments I needed it most. Stillness does not delay destiny, it preserves it. Anointed one. Many of you wake in the early hours of the morning with thoughts that feel urgent and vivid. These are not random disruptions. Your spirit is active when the world is quiet. You are more receptive in those hours, more attuned to the unseen. But if you never close that door intentionally, your body pays the price. Night after night of internal movement without restoration leads to deep fatigue. This is why intentional rest is spiritual discipline, not indulgence. Chosen one, you are not meant to fight every battle you sense. Discernment does not mean responsibility. Just because you can feel something does not mean you must carry it. Learning when to release is part of maturity. I had to learn this the hard way. Saying no felt uncomfortable at first, but peace returned quickly. Energy that is protected multiplies instead of drains. There is also an internal voice that contributes to this weariness. When you question yourself, when you replay old mistakes, when you doubt your timing, you are quietly leaking strength. The soul listens to what you repeat. Speaking alignment over yourself is not denial of reality. It is agreement with truth. The shift begins internally before it ever becomes visible. Chosen one. Heaven is not asking you to push harder in this season. It is asking you to listen deeper. Your exhaustion is an invitation to realign, to simplify, to return to what nourishes instead of what impresses. Creation itself models this rhythm. Nothing blooms constantly. Everything rests, resets, and rises again. This tiredness is not permanent. It is a signal that something old is loosening and something new is preparing space. When you honor the pause instead of fighting it, clarity returns naturally. Strength follows alignment. You are not losing momentum. You are being recalibrated so that what comes next can be sustained. Chosen one, trust that this recalibration is guided. You are not stepping backward, even if it feels unfamiliar. You are being tuned to a frequency that matches what is coming. When the body rests and the spirit aligns, movement becomes effortless again. Let this season teach you how to carry light without burning out, how to remain open without being emptied, and how to walk forward without dragging the weight of what was never yours. Right now. Chosen one. There is another layer to this tiredness that rarely gets named, and it lives in the space between obedience and expectation. You have been faithful in seasons where nothing seemed to move. You kept showing up, kept choosing integrity, kept listening for direction, even when the path felt quiet. That kind of faithfulness builds pressure inside the soul, because the spirit knows something is forming, while the mind wonders when it will appear. Living in that tension for too long can exhaust even the strongest vessel. I remember a season when I did everything I knew to do, prayed the prayers, made the changes, let go of what no longer fit, and still nothing shifted on the surface. People assumed I was resting, but internally I was holding a vision that had not yet found a place to land. That waiting carried weight. It taught me that anticipation without clarity can drain energy just as much as overwork. This is where many chosen ones grow weary, not from action, but from holding promise without manifestation. Chosen one. Your soul feels tired because it has been holding space for what is coming. You have been preparing internally for a future that your current environment cannot yet reflect. That gap between inner readiness and outer reality creates friction. It can feel like walking with a heavy coat in warm weather, useful later, unnecessary now. Heaven knows this tension, and it is not ignoring it. The delay is not denial, it is alignment. There is a timing spoken of in Isaiah chapter 60 verse 22, where the Lord says, "In the right time, He will make it happen swiftly." That means there are seasons where nothing moves, and then suddenly everything does. The stillness before acceleration can feel draining because the body is adjusting to a new posture. Your tiredness is not evidence that you missed something. It is evidence that you are close enough to feel the shift. Anointed. 1. Part of your exhaustion comes from carrying responsibility that belongs to God. You care deeply. You want things to resolve, people to heal, paths to open. But when concern becomes control, even silently, it burdens the soul. Surrender is not giving up. It is releasing weight that was never meant to be carried by human strength. I had to learn that trusting timing meant trusting silence too. There is also grief mixed into this fatigue. Grief for versions of yourself that did not get to exist. Grief for relationships that could not follow you forward. Grief for seasons that ended without explanation. You may not have named it as grief, but your body remembers. Tiredness often appears when unspoken grief has waited long enough. Allowing yourself to acknowledge what was lost makes room for renewal. Chosen. 1. Heaven is inviting you to rest in a different way now. Not escape, but deep restoration. This kind of rest recalibrates identity. It reminds you that your worth is not measured by output or visibility. You are not behind. You are being preserved. The hidden season is not a punishment. It is a sanctuary. When you stop forcing movement, clarity begins to surface naturally. Insight comes gently instead of urgently. Strength returns without strain. This is the moment to listen for what your tiredness has been teaching you. Something is asking to be released so that something else can arrive. You do not need to rush this process. You only need to stay honest and present. Chosen one, the heaviness will lift as alignment deepens. You are not fading, you are being refined. What feels like weakness is actually sensitivity adjusting to a higher assignment. The soul always prepares before the path opens. Let this season complete its work. You are closer than you think. Chosen one. As this tiredness begins to shift, it reveals a truth about how your strength actually works. Your energy was never meant to be constant. It was designed to move in waves, seasons, and sacred pauses. When you try to sustain yourself on force instead of flow, fatigue follows. Heaven is teaching you a new rhythm, one that protects your spirit while still honoring your calling. There was a time when I believed rest meant stopping everything, but I learned that true rest is alignment, not inactivity. You can be busy and rested, or still and exhausted, depending on what you are carrying. When your actions agree with your spirit, energy returns. When they conflict, the body resists. Your tiredness has been guiding you back into agreement. Chosen one. You are entering a phase where discernment becomes more important than effort. Not every opportunity deserves your yes. Not every invitation is aligned. Learning to choose based on peace instead of pressure is part of maturation. The more you honor this, the lighter life becomes. Energy flows where permission is given. There is also a restoration happening beneath the surface. Strength is being rebuilt quietly, not through adrenaline, but through trust. You may notice that your desires are simplifying. Noise feels heavier. Silence feels richer. This is not withdrawal. It is refinement. Heaven often reduces distractions before releasing clarity. Anointed one. You are not meant to carry tomorrow with today's strength. Grace arrives in portions. When you try to access future demands prematurely, it drains the present. This is why staying rooted in now restores energy. Each day carries what it needs when you stay aligned with it. There is a tenderness returning to your spirit. You may feel more emotional, more reflective, more aware. This is not regression, it is softening. Hardened strength can survive, but softened strength can last. The soul heals when it no longer has to brace itself constantly. Chosen one this season is teaching you how to live without bracing, without anticipating impact, without holding your breath. As trust deepens, tension releases. The body follows the soul. Sleep becomes deeper. Thoughts become clearer. Direction becomes simpler. You are not losing your edge. You are gaining wisdom. Wisdom knows when to move and when to wait. Wisdom honors cycles. Wisdom protects the vessel so the calling can endure. Your tiredness has been a teacher, not an enemy. There is a promise in Isaiah chapter 40 verse 31 that those who wait upon the Lord will renew their strength. Waiting here does not mean doing nothing. It means staying aligned. As alignment settles, renewal follows naturally. Chosen one, you are stepping into a lighter way of carrying your life. Not less responsibility, but more support. Not less awareness, but more peace. The heaviness you knew will not follow you into what comes next. This recalibration has prepared you to move forward without strain. Trust what is unfolding. Honor what is leaving. Stay present with what is rising. Your strength is returning in a form that will not exhaust you. This is not the end of your tiredness. It is the transformation of it into wisdom, clarity, and sustainable power. Chosen one. There is a moment in every calling where exhaustion becomes a doorway instead of a burden, and you are standing inside that moment now. When the body can no longer sustain old patterns, the soul is given permission to lead. This is where many misunderstand what is happening to them. They think they are losing capacity, but in truth, they are shedding a way of living that was never designed to last. Your tiredness is not signaling decline. It is signaling transition into a more precise way of moving through life. I remember a period when I could no longer multitask the way I once did. My tolerance for noise, urgency, and shallow interaction dropped sharply. At first I resisted it, thinking I was becoming weaker or less capable. Only later did I understand that my spirit was narrowing my focus to protect what mattered. Energy is sacred currency. When heaven is preparing you for something specific, it removes your appetite for what is unnecessary. Fatigue often appears when the soul refuses to keep funding distractions. Chosen one. This is why certain environments now feel heavier than before. Places that once energized you may now leave you drained. Conversations that used to feel normal may now feel hollow. Your spirit has recalibrated, even if your habits have not caught up yet. When there is a mismatch between who you are becoming and where you are placing yourself, tiredness emerges as feedback. It is not condemnation, it is guidance. There is also a spiritual honesty being restored in you. You are less willing to perform, to pretend, to overextend, just to be understood or accepted. That shift alone can feel exhausting because performance creates artificial momentum. When you stop performing, you have to relearn how to move authentically. That learning curve can feel slow, but it is necessary. Real strength is quieter than performance, but it lasts longer. Anointed One Heaven is also teaching you how to receive. Many chosen ones are excellent at giving, supporting, interceding, and holding space, but struggle to receive rest, care, and support without guilt. Exhaustion often appears when giving is no longer balanced by receiving. This season is not just about pulling back, it is about allowing replenishment without justification. You do not need to earn rest. You are allowed to be restored simply because you exist. Your nervous system is part of this story too. Long seasons of vigilance, discernment, and emotional responsibility keep the body in a state of readiness. Even when nothing is happening outwardly, the system stays alert. Over time, that constant readiness becomes tiring. As trust deepens, the body can finally stand down. That release can feel strange at first, even uncomfortable, because tension has become familiar. But safety is returning. Chosen one, you are learning to trust timing without monitoring it constantly. Watching the clock drains energy. Living in alignment restores it. When you stop asking when and start listening for how peace enters naturally. This does not mean you stop caring about your future. It means you stop carrying it prematurely. There is also a softening happening in how you see yourself. You are no longer measuring your value by how much you endure. Survival is not the goal anymore. Sustainability is. The tiredness you feel is inviting you into a life that can be lived without constant recovery. Heaven is interested in longevity, not burnout. This season is reshaping your relationship with effort. You are learning the difference between inspired action and forced action. Inspired action energizes even when it requires courage. Forced action drains no matter how successful it looks. As discernment sharpens, your body responds by conserving energy for what is truly aligned. Chosen one, do not rush this recalibration. Every layer that falls away is making room for clarity. What you are losing is not strength. It is excess. When this phase completes, you will recognize yourself again not as you were before, but as someone lighter, clearer, and more rooted. The tiredness has done its work. It has guided you home to a truer rhythm. Chosen one, as the weight continues to lift, you may notice something subtle but powerful beginning to return trust in yourself. Not confidence built on performance, but a quieter assurance that your inner guidance is reliable. Exhaustion often erodes self-trust because it blurs perception. As energy stabilizes, clarity follows. You begin to sense when to move and when to wait without overthinking it. That is wisdom reactivating. There was a time when I second-guessed every pause, every delay, every quiet season. I thought stillness meant stagnation. Now I know that stillness is where recalibration happens. The tiredness forced me to stop outsourcing my direction to noise and urgency. It taught me how to listen inwardly again. That same restoration is happening in you. Chosen one. Your relationship with time is changing. You are no longer racing it or fearing it. You are learning to cooperate with it. When you stop fighting, timing energy returns because resistance dissolves. There is less friction inside you now, less internal argument. That alone restores strength. You may also notice that your prayers are changing. They feel simpler, less frantic, more grounded. You're no longer asking to be rescued from exhaustion. You're allowing yourself to be guided out of it. Trust replaces striving. Faith becomes embodied instead of theoretical. Anointed One Heaven is not asking you to do more in this season. It is asking you to do less, but with greater presence. Focus is replacing force. Depth is replacing speed. This is how sustainable impact is built. You are being prepared for influence that does not drain you. Your body will continue to respond as alignment deepens. Sleep will normalize. Thoughts will slow. Emotional reactions will soften. These are signs of restoration, not retreat. You are not becoming passive. You are becoming precise. Chosen one. Remember that fatigue was never your enemy. It was your messenger. It told you when something was misaligned, when something needed to end, when something new needed space. Now that the message has been received, the intensity can fade. You are stepping into a phase where strength feels different. It is calmer, it is steadier, it does not announce itself. It supports you quietly from within. This kind of strength does not burn out because it is rooted in truth. There is nothing you need to chase to maintain this. Alignment sustains itself. When you honor your inner signals, energy flows naturally. You are learning how to live in a way that honors both heaven and your humanity. Chosen one. This is what renewal looks like. Not a sudden surge, but a steady return. Not pressure, but permission. Not exhaustion, but ease. You are not the same as you were when this tiredness began. You are wiser, more aware, and more aligned. Let this restoration continue without forcing it. Let your life reorganize around what nourishes you. The strength you are regaining now will carry you forward without breaking you. This season has changed how you carry light, and because of that, you will no longer be consumed by it. Chosen one. There comes a stage in this journey where the tiredness is no longer loud, but reflective, almost like an echo reminding you of where you have been and how far you have come. This is the phase where you begin to see patterns instead of pain, meaning instead of mystery. What once felt like random exhaustion now reveals itself as a carefully timed invitation to maturity. You are no longer reacting to fatigue. You are learning from it. I can remember the first time I realized I was no longer fighting my weariness. I noticed it when I stopped explaining myself. I no longer felt the need to justify my slower pace or my quieter presence. Something inside me had settled. That settling did not come from answers. It came from acceptance. Acceptance that my life was not meant to be lived at a volume that drowned out my own soul. The moment you accept this energy returns in a different form, calmer, deeper, more trustworthy. Chosen one. You are beginning to recognize that discernment requires space. When your inner world is crowded, signals become distorted. When it is honored, guidance becomes clear. This is why your spirit has been asking for simplicity. Fewer conversations, fewer commitments, fewer explanations. Not because you are withdrawing from life, but because you are refining how you engage with it. Every reduction is making room for accuracy. There is a sacred confidence forming in you now. Not the kind that announces itself, but the kind that stands quietly without shaking. This confidence grows when you realize you do not have to prove alignment. You only have to live it. Fatigue often comes from trying to be understood by people who are not meant to understand your season. As that need dissolves, strength stabilizes. Anointed one. Your inner world has been reorganizing itself around truth instead of urgency. You are learning to let go of timelines that were never yours. The pressure to arrive, to achieve, to resolve everything at once has been loosening its grip. With that release, the body follows. Muscles soften, breathing deepens, thoughts slow. This is not accidental. This is restoration expressing itself physically. You may notice that you are less reactive than before. Situations that once drained you emotionally no longer hook into you the same way. This is a sign that boundaries have moved inward. You are no longer managing energy only on the outside. You are protecting it at the source. That internal boundary is what allows you to remain present without becoming depleted. Chosen one. This stage is also about reclaiming joy without intensity, joy that does not spike and crash, joy that sits beside you instead of pulling you forward. You may find pleasure in ordinary moments again, simple conversations, quiet mornings, unplanned pauses. These moments are not distractions from your purpose, they are nourishment for it. A soul that never tastes joy cannot carry long-term vision. There is also forgiveness happening in this phase, not only toward others, but toward yourself. Forgiveness for the times you pushed too hard, for the seasons you ignored your own signals, for the ways you measured yourself by standards that never honored your design. As forgiveness settles, tension releases, energy returns gently without demand. Chosen. One heaven is teaching you that sustainability is sacred. Your life is not a sprint. It is not even a marathon. It is a rhythm. When you move, in rhythm effort becomes fluid. You stop bracing for impact and start trusting momentum. This is why exhaustion is fading. The work it came to do is nearly complete. You are learning to recognize the difference between silence that empties and silence that fills. The silence you are entering now is full of clarity, full of direction, full of quiet confidence. This is the kind of silence that precedes effective movement. When action comes from here, it does not drain, it multiplies. Chosen one. You are not returning to who you were before the tiredness began. You are arriving as someone who knows how to listen, how to wait, how to move without burning out. The wisdom gained here will shape every season that follows. This is not an ending. It is integration. The pieces of you that once felt scattered are finding their place. Strength is no longer something you chase. It is something you carry naturally now. Chosen one. As this integration continues, you may sense a new kind of readiness settling into your spirit. Not urgency, not pressure, but quiet availability. This is the readiness that comes when the soul is no longer preoccupied with survival or recovery. It is the posture of someone who can respond without being drained. This is where calling becomes sustainable. I remember realizing that I no longer woke up asking how much energy the day would take from me. Instead, I began to ask what felt aligned to offer. That shift changed everything. Energy stopped feeling like a limited resource and started feeling like a guided flow. When alignment leads, strength follows. Chosen one, you are stepping into a phase where your presence carries more weight than your effort. People may notice that they feel calmer around you even when you say little. This is not because you are trying to help. It is because your inner world is no longer in conflict. Peace becomes contagious when it is embodied. That embodiment was forged through the tiredness you once resisted. Your discernment is also sharpening. You will sense more quickly what requires your attention and what does not. This protects you from unnecessary drain. You no longer have to analyze everything. Clarity arrives intuitively. That intuitive clarity is a sign that your spirit and mind are working together again instead of competing. Anointed One Heaven has been restoring your trust in timing. You are less anxious about what has not happened yet. You are more attentive to what is unfolding now. This presence anchors you. When presence is strong, fatigue loses its grip. Energy flows where attention rests. There is a humility in this stage that feels grounding rather than diminishing. You no longer need to be seen to feel secure. You no longer need to explain to feel valid. This humility is strength refined. It allows you to move freely without the weight of expectation. Chosen one, you may find that your ambitions are changing, not disappearing, but clarifying. What once felt important may now feel optional. What once felt distant may now feel inevitable. This is alignment, adjusting desire to purpose. When desire and purpose agree, energy stabilizes. Your body continues to respond to this agreement. You may feel more present in your physical self, more attuned to rest, movement, nourishment. Caring for yourself no longer feels like maintenance. It feels like stewardship. Stewardship restores dignity to rest. Chosen one. The tiredness that once defined this season no longer needs to. It has served as a messenger, a teacher, a guide. Now it is becoming wisdom stored in your awareness. You will recognize its signals earlier in the future and respond with grace instead of resistance. This is how cycles break. Not through force, but through understanding. You have learned how to listen to your body without fear, how to honor your soul without guilt, how to trust timing without anxiety. These lessons will echo forward. Chosen one. Your strength is no longer borrowed from urgency. It is rooted in truth. You are not rushing into what comes next. You are ready for it because you are whole. Wholeness carries energy effortlessly. As you move forward, carry this knowing with you. You are allowed to live in a way that does not exhaust you. You're allowed to protect your rhythm. You're allowed to move at the pace of alignment. This is not a luxury. It is how your life was designed to be lived. The season of constant tiredness has reshaped you, not weakened you. You now carry a quieter power, one that does not fade quickly. This power will sustain you in ways effort never could. You are not returning to motion. You are entering flow. Chosen one. There is a deeper freedom beginning to surface, now one that comes only after you stop fearing your own limits. For a long time, tiredness felt like an enemy you had to overcome, something to push through, so you would not fall behind or disappoint others. But as this season matures, you are discovering that limits are not threats, they are boundaries of wisdom. Your body and soul were never meant to be limitless, they were meant to be guided. I remember realizing that the people who burned out the fastest were often the ones who believed they had to be endlessly available. I was one of them. I thought saying yes was proof of love, strength, and faithfulness. Over time, exhaustion taught me something gentler and far more powerful. Availability without discernment becomes self-abandonment. Your tiredness has been protecting you from that slow erosion of self. Chosen one. You are learning how to choose yourself without becoming selfish. That distinction matters. Choosing yourself means honoring the vessel God entrusted to you. It means recognizing that your energy is not just personal, it is purposeful. When energy is wasted, purpose is delayed. When energy is guarded, purpose accelerates naturally. There is also a grief you are releasing now, the grief of who you thought you had to be in order to matter. Many chosen ones carry an unspoken belief that they must suffer constantly to justify their calling. That belief is quietly dissolving in you. Suffering was never the proof of your worth. Obedience was. Alignment was. Willingness was. The exhaustion came from trying to earn what was already assigned. As this belief loosens, your inner dialogue is changing. You are less harsh with yourself. You no longer interpret rest as failure. You no longer see pauses as weakness. That shift alone restores energy because the body relaxes when it is no longer under internal judgment. Compassion toward yourself is becoming a stabilizing force. Chosen one. You are also becoming more honest about what drains you. You are noticing patterns you once ignored. Certain conversations leave you heavy. Certain commitments cost more than they give. Certain expectations no longer fit who you are becoming. Awareness precedes release. You cannot let go of what you refuse to name. The tiredness helped you name it. This honesty may feel uncomfortable at first because it requires you to disappoint some expectations. But peace is always more sustainable than approval. When you choose peace, energy returns. When you chase approval, fatigue follows. This is not theory, it is lived truth. Anointed One, heaven is also restoring your trust in joy. Not joy as escape, but joy as grounding. You are remembering that laughter, beauty, and pleasure are not distractions from spiritual life. They are part of it. A soul that never experiences joy becomes brittle. Your tiredness was a sign that joy had been postponed for too long. I remember the first time joy returned quietly instead of explosively. It showed up in small moments, a walk without urgency, a conversation without depth, demands a morning without dread. These moments did not look impressive, but they restored something essential. You are entering that same gentle return. Chosen One. This phase is teaching you how to carry responsibility without carrying weight. Responsibility aligned with calling feels purposeful. Responsibility misaligned feels heavy. As discernment sharpens, you will naturally shed what is not yours. No dramatic exit required, just quiet release. Your nervous system is responding to this release. You may notice that your body recovers faster now. Stress does not linger as long. Emotional waves pass without overwhelming you. This is regulation returning. It is a sign that safety has been restored internally. Chosen One. There is also a growing patience in you. Not passive waiting, but confident pacing. You are no longer rushing outcomes. You are allowing processes to unfold. Patience conserves energy because it removes urgency from the equation. Urgency always drains. Trust sustains. This patience is preparing you for greater influence. Influence without patience burns bridges. Influence with patience builds legacy. Heaven does not rush what it intends to last. Your tiredness slowed you down so that your future would not break you. You may also feel a new clarity around what you are willing to tolerate. You no longer normalize chaos. You no longer romanticize struggle. You are choosing stability even when it feels unfamiliar. Stability may feel boring to a soul addicted to survival, but it is life-giving to a soul ready to thrive. Chosen One. The exhaustion you once feared is now wisdom you carry. You will recognize its early signs in the future and respond with care instead of resistance. You will rest before collapse. You will adjust before burnout. That is mastery. This season has re-taught you how to listen, how to honor your design, how to walk with God without abandoning yourself. These lessons are not temporary. They will shape how you love work and lead moving forward. Chosen One. You are not emerging weaker from this tiredness. You are emerging calibrated to truth, calibrated to timing, calibrated to a rhythm that sustains life instead of consuming it. What comes next will not require you to betray yourself. It will require you to stay aligned. This is not the end of your story. It is the end of a pattern that could not go with you. The tiredness has done its work. You are still here, wiser, steadier, and ready to move forward without losing yourself again. Chosen One. There is a quiet authority settling into you now, and it feels different from anything you have known before. It does not rush. It does not demand attention. It does not rise from proving or striving. It emerges from having listened deeply to your own soul and having honored what it revealed. This authority was born in the season of tiredness, shaped in the pauses you did not plan, and strengthened in the moments you chose honesty over endurance. You are no longer operating from survival mode. You are operating from alignment. I remember the moment I realized that my energy was no longer scattered across too many directions. It was not dramatic. Nothing externally changed overnight. But internally, there was a sense of cohesion, like parts of me that had been negotiating with each other finally agreed. That agreement brought relief. When inner conflict ends, fatigue follows it out. What you are experiencing now is that same internal agreement beginning to hold. Chosen one. Your life is starting to feel more intentional, even when it looks simpler. You are less interested in filling space and more interested in honoring substance. You notice when something drains you faster than it nourishes you, and you are quicker to step back without guilt. This is not detachment. This is discernment matured through experience. You earned this clarity by listening when exhaustion spoke. There is also a recalibration in how you relate to effort. You are no longer impressed by intensity alone. You value consistency, sustainability, and peace. You understand now that force can create movement, but only alignment can create longevity. The tiredness stripped away illusions about what strength truly looks like. Strength is no longer loud for you. It is steady. Anointed one. Heaven has been restoring your sense of internal permission. Permission to rest before you are empty. Permission to say no without explanation. Permission to move slowly without apologizing. This permission was always available, but exhaustion was the doorway that made it unavoidable. When you finally stopped arguing with your limits, wisdom stepped in. Your body has been learning alongside your spirit. You may notice that you recover faster from emotional stress now. You may find that situations that once hijacked your nervous system no longer have the same power. This is not numbness, it is regulation. Your system trusts that you will listen when it signals discomfort, so it no longer has to shout through fatigue. Chosen one. There is also a new humility forming in you, one that does not diminish your confidence, but grounds it. You no longer assume that every challenge requires your immediate response. You allow space for timing, for unfolding, for divine orchestration. This humility conserves energy because it releases control. Control is exhausting. Trust is not. I remember how tired I became trying to anticipate outcomes, trying to prepare for every possible scenario. Letting go of that habit felt risky at first, but it restored more energy than any rest ever did. You are learning the same lesson now. Anticipation drains, presence restores. When you stay present, energy stabilizes. Chosen one. Your relationship with silence has changed. Silence no longer feels empty or uncomfortable. It feels informative. In silence, you hear what matters and what does not. This discernment is sharpening your path. When you move again, you will move with clarity instead of urgency. That clarity is the reward of honoring this season fully. There is also a gentler way you are treating yourself now. You are no longer measuring your progress by comparison. You are measuring it by alignment. That shift alone dissolves a great deal of unnecessary fatigue. Comparison fragments energy. Alignment gathers it. You feel more whole because you are no longer divided internally. Anointed one. The tiredness taught you how to stop abandoning yourself for the sake of outcomes. It taught you that being chosen does not mean being depleted. It means being stewarded. Your life is not meant to be consumed by your calling. It is meant to be sustained by it. That distinction is now clear in you. You may notice that your intuition feels calmer now, less urgent, more precise. Instead of alarms, you receive gentle signals. This is what happens when the system is no longer overloaded. Discernment refines itself when it is no longer fighting exhaustion. You trust yourself again, and that trust restores strength. Chosen one. The season ahead will not demand the same kind of endurance the past required. It will require presence, honesty, and pacing. You have been trained for this through rest, not through pressure. The tiredness was not a setback. It was preparation for a different way of carrying responsibility. As you continue forward, remember what this season taught you. Do not wait until exhaustion returns to listen. Respond to subtle signals early. Honor your rhythm. Protect your peace. These are not luxuries. They are requirements for the life you are meant to live. Chosen one. You are no longer fighting fatigue. You have integrated its message. What remains is wisdom, steadiness, and a strength that does not demand recovery after every step. This is the kind of strength that lasts. This is the kind of strength that carries destiny without breaking the vessel that holds it. Chosen one, as this strength settles into a quieter, steadier form, you may begin to notice that your decisions feel cleaner now. There is less internal debate, less emotional noise clouding your direction. Choices that once felt complicated start to feel obvious, not because life is simpler, but because you are clearer. Fatigue often comes from carrying too many unresolved questions inside, and as those questions dissolve, energy returns in subtle but powerful ways. You are no longer negotiating with yourself every step of the way. I remember a time when even small decisions felt exhausting. What to say yes to, what to delay, what to release. Each choice carried emotional weight because I did not yet trust my inner alignment. Now I see that exhaustion was partly the cost of indecision rooted in fear. When fear loosens its grip, decisiveness becomes gentle instead of forceful. That gentleness conserves strength. You are learning this now. Chosen one, you are also beginning to experience a new relationship with responsibility. You no longer confuse responsibility with burden. Some things you carry because they are yours. Others you release because they never were. This distinction restores dignity to your energy. Carrying what is assigned to you brings fulfillment. Carrying what is not drains life. Your tiredness helped you tell the difference. There is a grounded realism forming in you. You are no longer idealizing endless productivity or spiritual intensity. You are valuing truth over image. This realism does not lower your standards, it refines them. You understand now that a life aligned with purpose must also be livable. Heaven does not ask for sacrifices that destroy the vessel. It asks for obedience that sustains it. Anointed one, you may notice that your empathy has matured. You still care deeply, but you are no longer porous in the same way. You can feel compassion without absorbing pain. You can listen without carrying. This is emotional sovereignty returning. It protects you without hardening you. Exhaustion fades when empathy becomes regulated. I remember learning that I could love people without rescuing them. That realization alone restored more energy than sleep ever did. Rescue creates dependency and drains both sides. Presence empowers without depletion. You are stepping into that distinction now, and your nervous system feels the relief. Chosen one. Your pace is becoming more intentional. You're no longer rushing to keep up with narratives that were never written for you. You're honoring your own timeline. This reduces friction inside you. Friction is exhausting. Flow restores. There is also a deepening trust in divine orchestration. You are less tempted to manipulate outcomes. You understand now that forcing timing costs energy and distorts clarity. Trust allows timing to reveal itself. That trust is stabilizing your spirit. You may feel a renewed sense of ownership over your life. Not control, but stewardship. You are tending to your energy like something valuable, not something expendable. This stewardship changes how you show up in every area. Work, relationships, rest, and reflection all begin to align. Chosen. 1. The tiredness that once dominated this season no longer defines it. What remains is insight. You have learned how to listen before collapse, how to adjust before burnout, how to rest without guilt. These are not small lessons. They will shape how you live for years to come. There is also a subtle joy returning, not the kind that overwhelms, but the kind that steadies. Joy that does not need constant stimulation. Joy that coexists with responsibility. This joy restores energy because it affirms life instead of demanding performance. Anointed One, you are discovering that wholeness is not achieved through effort alone. It is maintained through honesty, pacing, and alignment. The exhaustion stripped away illusions so that truth could take root. Now that truth is bearing fruit quietly. As you move forward, you will recognize the early signs of misalignment more quickly. You will respond with care instead of endurance. You will choose rest before depletion. This is not fear-based living. It is wisdom-based living. Chosen One, this season has matured you. You are no longer driven by urgency or fear of falling behind. You are guided by clarity and trust. The strength you carry now does not shout. It supports. It does not rush. It steadies. This is the kind of strength that can hold purpose without losing peace. Let this integration continue. You do not need to hurry. You are already aligned. The tiredness served its purpose. What remains is a life that can be lived fully without costing you yourself. Chosen One. As you arrive at this point in the journey, there is a deep sense of arrival that has nothing to do with outcomes and everything to do with internal peace. You are no longer asking when relief will come because you can feel that something fundamental has already shifted. The tiredness that once felt overwhelming has softened into awareness, and that awareness has become wisdom. This is the quiet reward of staying present long enough to let the season complete its work, instead of escaping it too early. I remember the moment I realized I was no longer waiting to feel better before trusting myself again. That shift did not come with fireworks. It came with a calm recognition that my inner world was no longer at war. When conflict ends inside, energy stops leaking. You are experiencing that same integration now. What once drained you no longer has the same access, not because the world changed, but because you did. Chosen One, you are beginning to live from the center instead of the edges. You are not reacting to every stimulus or demand. You are responding from alignment. This changes everything. When response replaces reaction, fatigue loses its grip. The body follows the leadership of a settled spirit. You move differently now, even if you cannot yet explain how. There is a sacred simplicity entering your life. You are no longer trying to be everywhere or everything. You are comfortable being exactly where you are. This simplicity is not limitation. It is focus refined. Focus conserves energy because it removes unnecessary decision-making. When the soul knows what matters, the body relaxes. Anointed One, you may notice that your prayers have become quieter but more honest. Less performance, more presence. Less urgency, more trust. This kind of prayer does not exhaust the soul. It restores it. You are no longer trying to convince heaven. You are listening to it. That listening recalibrates everything. There is also a new relationship forming between you and rest. Rest is no longer something you collapse into after depletion. It is something you choose before depletion arrives. This is mastery. This is what it looks like when exhaustion has been integrated instead of resisted. You are no longer afraid of slowing down because you know slowing down does not mean falling behind. Chosen One, your body is learning to trust you again. For a long time it had to shout through fatigue because subtle signals were ignored. Now, as you respond earlier, the system quiets. This is why peace feels more accessible. Safety has returned internally. When the body feels safe, energy becomes available. You may also notice that your sense of identity feels less fragile. You are not as easily shaken by external opinions or shifting circumstances. You know who you are even when things are uncertain. That stability was forged in the tiredness you once questioned. Exhaustion stripped away false identities until only what was true remained. Anointed One. This season has taught you how to carry light without burning. You no longer pour endlessly without replenishment. You no longer confuse sacrifice with depletion. You understand now that light must be stewarded, not scattered. This understanding will protect you in future seasons, where influence and responsibility increase. There is a grounded confidence in you now, one that does not seek validation. You trust your timing, you trust your discernment, you trust your ability to pause and resume without losing momentum. This trust is a well of strength that does not run dry easily. Chosen One. Your relationship with silence has matured into companionship. Silence is no longer empty. It is informative. It shows you what needs attention and what does not. This clarity reduces mental fatigue. When the mind is no longer crowded, energy stabilizes naturally. You may find that your creativity is returning in a different form, not frantic or pressured, but spacious and steady. Creativity flows best when the system is regulated. Exhaustion blocked that flow temporarily, so it could be restored more sustainably. What returns now will last. Anointed. One Heaven has been teaching you how to live without betraying yourself. That lesson is priceless. Many never learn it and spend their lives recovering from their own overextension. You learned it through tiredness, through stillness, through honesty. That wisdom is now embedded in how you move. As you step forward, you will notice that challenges no longer threaten your stability in the same way. You may still feel pressure, but it does not consume you. You have learned how to adjust, how to rest, how to listen. These skills are not temporary. They are permanent upgrades to how you live. Chosen One. This is what renewal looks like when it is real, not dramatic, not loud, but deeply rooted. You are no longer defined by exhaustion. You are defined by alignment. The season that tired you out has also strengthened you in ways nothing else could. Carry this forward gently. You do not need to prove what you have learned. You only need to live it. Your life will reflect the integration naturally. Strength will continue to grow without strain. Peace will remain accessible. You have crossed a threshold not into effort, but into flow. Chosen One, as this sacred moment draws to completion, do not rush past what your spirit has just received. This was not a message you stumbled upon. This was a divine encounter marked on heaven's clock, a precise kairos moment where what was sealed began to loosen and what was hidden began to breathe. Something in you recognized truth, not because it was new, but because it was remembered. Your scroll has been opening quietly all along, and now the ink is becoming visible. Anointed One. You are not leaving this encounter the same way you entered it. You are not returning to an old version of yourself. You are emerging, refined, steadied, and inwardly aligned in a way that cannot be undone. What felt like exhaustion was never the end of you. It was the shedding of weight that could not go forward. What felt like being stripped was the removal of noise pressure and false expectations. What felt like delay was divine pacing protecting what was forming until the vessel could hold it without breaking. Hear this with clarity and let it settle deep. Your fatigue is not failure. Your stillness is not wasted time. Your longing for peace is not weakness. It is divine intelligence working through you. God slowed your steps because your assignment requires discernment, not urgency. It requires depth, not speed. It requires a soul that can hear whispers as clearly as commands. And that is who you are becoming. Chosen one. The season that tired you also trained you. It taught you when to release and when to rest. It taught you how to listen without fear and how to pause without guilt. It revealed what drains you and what restores you. It showed you that not everything that asks for your energy deserves it. These were not random lessons. They were preparation for a life that must be sustained, not survived. As you move forward from this moment, remain faithful to what has been revealed. Guard your rhythm with reverence. Protect your inner stillness. Honor the flow of the anointing without forcing outcomes. You do not need to chase what is aligned. What is meant for you will recognize your pace. Gratitude will keep you grounded. Trust will keep you steady. Presence will keep you clear. Anointed one. I speak blessing over your mind, that clarity replaces confusion and discernment replaces doubt. I speak blessing over your body, that rest becomes deep and renewal becomes natural. I speak blessing over your spirit, that sensitivity is protected and strength is sustainable. May the weight lift where it no longer belongs. May peace settle where striving once lived. May wisdom guide you gently as you step into what is unfolding. You are standing in your appointed hour. Not rushed, not late. Exactly on time. The scroll is opening not to overwhelm you, but to guide you. What manifests next will not require you to abandon yourself. It will require you to stay aligned with what you have learned. The strength returning to you now is quieter, but it is deeper. It will last. Chosen one. If this word has settled in your spirit, you may choose to mark it in a way that feels sacred to you. A quiet prayer, a written declaration, a simple acknowledgement that you received what was sent. Let heaven and earth witness your agreement, not as performance, but as alignment. As you go from here, go gently, go aware, go grateful. Do not rush the fruit that is forming. You are not behind. You are not lacking. You are becoming. The light within you has not dimmed. It has been refined, and it will shine without consuming you. Remain in peace. Remain in trust. Remain aligned. What has begun will continue to unfold in perfect timing. You are chosen, you are carried, and this season is bearing fruit.